You're drowning in noise. Every day, bombarded with endless messages, distractions screaming for attention, shouting louder just to be noticed. There's a relentless pressure to say more, do more, be louder, faster, visible at all times. But inside, it's suffocating. The more you try to speak over the chaos, the more lost you feel. You want to break free, make an impact that lasts, connect deeply, not just shout into the void hoping someone hears. You feel it, the burning urgency, a mission bigger than algorithms, bigger than followers, bigger than trends. But it's buried under layers of noise. How do you cut through the clutter when everyone else is doing the screaming? Here's the thing. The biggest breakthroughs, the most powerful moves in marketing, come not from noise, not from shouting. The real power lies in silence. Not the kind of silence that's empty or passive, but the silence that commands, that attracts, that makes every word, every action, every moment count like fire in the dark. Silence is the space where meaning lives. It's the breath between the chaos and clarity. It's what transforms distraction into focus, confusion into insight, followers into believers. Imagine marketing that doesn't shout but pulls people in like gravity, that doesn't overwhelm but invites curiosity, that doesn't demand attention but earns it, deeply, relentlessly. You might think silence is weakness, invisibility, ignorance, but it's the exact opposite. It's the unshakable force that owns confidence without boasting, that waits patiently while others chase fleeting trends. Silence has power because it holds space for the authentic, the radical, the extraordinary to emerge. Think about the founders, leaders, and creators who've made real change. They didn't blare their message every second. They chose moments carefully. They spun truth like gold in the spaces between words. And they built movements from attention earned, not begged. That's why silence is magnetic. It dares listeners to lean in, to engage not just with what's said, but with what's left unsaid. The promise, the potential, the deep connection waiting to be unlocked. Your biggest problem? You're stuck believing more noise equals more results. Raising your voice louder, posting nonstop, reacting to every trend, every comment, every distraction. It's exhausting. It fractures your focus. It dilutes your message. Worse, it makes you part of the swarm, easily ignored, forgotten as soon as the next loud thing appears. You're pacing, desperate to be seen and heard, yet the harder you push, the more distant your audience feels. It's an illusion of freedom, trapped by the very tools you think will liberate you. But what if instead of adding noise, you stripped it away? What if you claimed silence as your greatest strategy? Not emptiness, but presence. Not hiding, but revealing in ways that demand respect and curiosity. The space where your vision doesn't compete, it calls. Where every word, every idea lands like thunder, not because it's loud, but because it's true, necessary, and rare. How do you get there? Start by breaking the addiction to constant output. Stop drowning your audience in content that threatens to overwhelm and bore. Instead, create moments of pause. Be the calm in the storm, the quiet certainty when the market screams chaos. Use silence to build suspense, anticipation, hunger. Every word you say after a long pause will be devoured. Every action you take after stillness becomes a headline. Next, build marketing that listens more than it talks. Pay attention to the whispers underneath the noise. Your audience isn't screaming for your message. They're quietly desperate for meaning, clarity, a connection that's real and human. When others shout, you listen. When others flood timelines, you create space for reflection, for resonance. That's how true loyalty begins, not with volume, but with depth. Don't confuse silence with passivity. It's an active force. It takes courage to hold back when the world is pushing to flood every channel. It takes discipline to wait while the competition clamors noisily for scraps of attention. But it's exactly that discipline that sharpens your impact, that makes your presence unavoidable. Silence is the weapon of the confident, the radical outsider who's done with playing by the noise-driven rules. And here's something no one talks about. Silence creates room for transformation. When you're not rushing to fill every second with noise, you begin to understand your audience, your mission, and, importantly, yourself. In the stillness, you confront the fears that push you to shout, the old beliefs that keep you stuck in reaction mode, and the false promises that have diluted your power for too long. Silence forces clarity. It cuts through distractions and reveals what really matters. What does this mean in practical terms? It means less frantic posting, more strategic focus. It means crafting messages that are precise and intentional, not catch-all and cluttered. It means connecting with a few who truly matter, rather than hundreds who scroll past. Find the edges where your message lands hardest, then let silence do the heavy lifting around it. When you speak less, your voice carries further. And here's the secret. When you learn to harness silence, you unlock a deeper human truth. People don't just want to be sold to, they want to be understood, to find space for their own story inside yours. Silence creates that space. It lets your audience step inside your vision, feel it in their bones, and become part of it. That's how movements grow and ideas spread, not by noise that fades, but by silence that echoes. This silent power doesn't just fix marketing, it liberates the individual, the founder, the leader, the creator who's tired of the system's noise and ready to transcend it. You realize that the world has no structure for the exceptional, and so you build one within that silence. You connect the few who burn brightly enough to ignite something new. Silence becomes your code for sovereignty, your will, your weapon, your way forward. You start to question everything, not blindly rejecting noise for silence's sake, but transforming your reality. You become selective, aligning only with voices that echo your fire, that challenge you, that push beyond comfort and consensus. Patience becomes your ally, not frustration. You understand this is a long game, a quiet revolution that few can hear but many will feel. The system's lies become clear. The promise of freedom, a world of constant noise and distraction, turns hollow. True freedom is silent sovereignty. It's about claiming your voice on your own terms. It's about making the world stop and listen, not because you shouted, but because your silence spoke volumes. This is not for the many. It's for the few who burn, who refuse to bend, who know that to create the next reality they must first unlearn everything the noise taught them. If you feel that tension inside, that painful quiet longing for more, for truth, for transcendence, you're already there. Ready to step out of the noise and into the silent power that will change everything. The world needs fewer voices and more presence, fewer distractions and more depth, less noise and more power. Your marketing doesn't have to be loud to be effective. It has to be real. It has to be silent. Embrace the silence. Let it do the work. Make your message impossible to ignore, not by the decibels, but by the space it holds, the courage it shows, the truth it carries. This is how you become unmissable. This is how you build something that lasts, something revolutionary. This is how the most powerful marketing doesn't come from noise, but from silence.